Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a disassembly for you of this little guy right here. This is the CJRB... I don't remember the name of this knife. Well, hey, we'll figure it out. I'll put it in the link. You've already seen the title. But alright, going ahead and take a look first. We are very... maybe slightly favoring the clip side. Not particularly. But one thing that is worth noting is that this pivot collar is not really well seated on this side here as it stands, and it's not well seated over here. So that's not a problem that I caused. That's just the nature of the beast. This guy is straight from the factory here. So I'm going to go ahead and take it apart, and I'm going to try and remove these 3 screws here. So that way I'm working all from one side. Those 2 back ones look like T6. Yep. Okay. A little bit of a thick white thread locker. Okay, and let's grab a T8 bit for this, I think. Got it. That is a super duper shallow screw. There is just barely any room for engagement at the top of this screw. Oof. But the knife is trying to disassemble itself in my hand, so I will let it. And we drop the whole thing down, and here we go. What we see is this is a CJRB, right? I say that not with any disdain particularly, but just it is built exactly like every other one is built. Frankly, it's built like every Chinese line of lock is built of late, right? There's really not a whole lot remarkable going on here. We got ourselves a blade. The blade, in this case, has some internal bearing races here. The lock face, no burr. Oh, no, there's a pretty substantial burr on the back of that. Let me deburr that real quick. Grab myself a pair or a ceramic file. If you're curious about this or any of the other tools I'm using during this or any other disassembly, check out nickshabazz.com/tools. Just going to go on ahead and try and knock this burr down. Not because it is particularly bad or affects the action, but because it could potentially cut me as I'm taking this guy apart. So I'm just kind of removing that burr. One of these days, it's just going to break right off of there, but yeah, almost there. Okay, I'm feeling it going there. And there we go. We're done. All right, so there's that. Problem solved. Not that it was a huge problem, but just one of those little optimizations I will often do. Oh, the burrs. Let's go on ahead and anything else I got to do here? I'll just hit this with a Q-tip real quick. Make sure I've cleaned that out. We can then start cleaning up the bearings using this cleaning cloth here. We can see the bearings were actually pretty dirty. So hopefully this is going to run a little bit better by the time we're done. But the thing is, that's probably just worn off black coating here. That's kind of come off onto those. And then I'll go ahead and push that part of the way through and then clean the both the lock bar here as well as the pivot. And actually, I'll kind of rotate around the pivot here to clean that too. So we are good to go. We are ready to reassemble at this point. Going ahead and put the stop pin in place there. Let's use some 10-weight nano oil here. Boom. And boom. I'm going to drop a bearing on there and just rotate it around. Next up, I'm going to go on ahead and put a little bit of lubrication just around the pivot itself here. It's a little much, but who am I if not Exxon Shabazz? But that'll allow the pivot to spin a little bit more freely. Let's go ahead and drop this here. And a little bit there. And do some rotation. Now what I'm going to do is... the liner fell out on me. All right. Not the end of the world. In order to get everything snapped into place... So, okay, let me walk you back through what just happened. I'm trying to set this liner down, and it's not going into place. I can get it to lock in here and here, but it won't lock in there. The reason for that is because right now the lock bar is all the way up, right? But if I press this lock bar down... That allows the blade to move subtly and allows the stop pin to move, which allows me to do this, to snap everything back into place, right? And so now everything will work, but it wouldn't work when I had tension. I didn't have tension on the lock bar. So that's the kind of thing you're going to want to keep in mind as you're putting these things back together. If something doesn't want to snap back shut, don't force it. Think about whether there are other degrees of freedom to worry about here. Okay, let's go on ahead and drop in a pivot here. Come here, pivot here. And I'm just going to kind of hand tighten him in for the moment. Again, I'm maintaining downward pressure so the whole thing doesn't tear itself apart. Oh, God, that's a terribly shallow screw. Yikes. And let's go on ahead and put this guy in position here. And beautiful, that's in place. And then this guy goes in place. And now we are done in one. Beautiful. The action is good. There's no blade play or anything like that. We're good. All set. 6 minutes, 17 seconds. Can't argue with that. Anyways, hope this has been interesting to you and that you have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.